afternoon, everyone. I am Linda Knowlton, your FAMP president, and we welcome you today to this exciting industry lender panel webinar. If you could all, a couple housekeeping items, keep yourself on mute during our questions, but at the end and through the chat box, we will have a Q&A for you. So it is my extreme pleasure and honor to be here today. This is one of the great perks about being a leader at FAMP. You get to hang out with these industry superstars here. So I am completely honored and thank these gentlemen for their time today because as we were just discussing, they're all traveling quite a bit, going out to the broker shops, to their customers all throughout the country. So I would like to introduce first is going to be Alan Baydoun. He's UWM's Executive Vice President of Sales. I'm going to have Alan just say a few words about himself, and then we'll go around the panel. So Alan, I'm going to start with you.
Hey, thank you so much, Linda. Real excited to be here, to be on this panel with such great industry leaders. Also would like to thank FAMP for everything that they're doing regarding originators, not just in Florida, but across the country. My role here at United Wholesale Mortgage, obviously I oversee sales, but also to be a liaison between the different associations and really just keep brokers up front and center with clients and help them grow their business. That's what we do here at UWM. No retail team, no retention team. Our sole purpose is to just mainly grow the broker channel. So excited to be here along these industry leaders. Can't wait to see how this panel goes, and I'm sure everybody's going to get a lot of great feedback of what's yet to come here in our industry.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. All right. Our next guest, and always a supporter as well, is John Jimenod from Angel Oak. You're the Regional Vice President of Sales. And John, I don't think I butchered your last name too badly this time. I've been really practicing, by the way. So would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Actually, you pronunciated it better than I do, so thank you.
Good.
And like Alan, I'm honored to be on this panel here, and Angel Oak is a huge fan of FAMP. Not just, we're not just a partner with you guys, but really enjoy all the work you do. Like Alan said, not just in Florida, but throughout the country. And today I'm actually traveling at a Originator Connect series down here in San Antonio, Texas. So, we're working with the broker and working with them, try to help them grow their business through non-QM. So thank you, Linda.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I have Michael Brenny, the president of AmeriSave Wholesale Mortgage Lending Division. And Michael, actually AmeriSave has stepped up to the plate here the last couple of years as one of our sponsors as well. So thank you again, Michael, for participating this year. Can you just share a few tidbits about yourself and your company?
Absolutely. Well, just can't outdo what Alan and John already started with in terms of thanking you for all that you do and for what FAMP does. But I will say, shameless plug for FAMP and the Helpers Act. If you haven't heard about the Helpers Act, get your pen and paper out, and before you leave this call today, write Helpers Act down and ask somebody at FAMP about what that is. Ask your account executive at UWM, Angel Oak, AmeriSave Wholesale, or SRE what that's about. It's an incredible act that we hope to get passed with the support of FAMP and legislators down in Florida. So just thank you for everything. I'm the president and founder of AmeriSave Wholesale, relatively new wholesale lender. We entered the market in July of last year, so we're turning about 1 year old. In fact, the other day we turned one and celebrated that. So just an absolute pleasure to be here, and really enjoyed the last webinar we did a couple months ago, and looking forward to doing this with John, and Alan today. Just a couple of great guys that I've respected over my career, and nice to finally be on a panel with these guys.
Thank you. Thank you. And these three companies that we just were introduced to are our 2022 convention high roller sponsors. But last night at probably around 8 p.m. Eastern time, we have our fourth and final high roller sponsor, which is John Stevens of SRE. And John's company has supported FAMP over the years, and specifically over the last 2 years. John is a mortgage industry veteran and have known him for a number of years. So John, would you, I welcome you today kind of at last minute. He just kind of slid on in here. We are happy to have you. Would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you, Linda, for your kind introduction. You're making me blush for what it's worth. Um, as everybody here, I mean, you're here today not only to, support the Florida Association, but you're also here to better your careers, right? Through learning what will be better for your clientele, how to make sure that you offer the best products available, and really at the end of the day, really expand that vision that you are that human assisted piece in e-commerce. And that's one thing about SRE.com that we're incredibly proud of. And I know all of those that you just heard from believe in as well, is that at the end of the day, when everybody out there is trying to automate and bring in technology and trying to make it where everything can be done through AI, the people here on the panel today, the Florida Association, and myself and our company SRE.com, we firmly believe that consumers cannot receive the level of care that they need without that human assisted part. And so I just want to thank the other panelists for being on here as well. And I'm excited to be one of the high roller sponsors. I'm excited what all that brings. And for those of you on here, for a fact that Florida, they put on a good party. So with this theme, it should be even more fun this year. So
Right, it will be. We're at a record number of booths sold, and all four of these gentlemen will be speaking at our convention as well. So let's go ahead and start with some questions here that we're going to put them up on the board, and we are recording this, and we will be sending it out to everyone that's that's attending the webinar. It will also be on our website under our webinar library, and also on our YouTube channel at BHB TV. So I am going to rotate, same question, rotate the panel, and I am going to ask Mr. Baydoun to answer the first question, which is, where do you see the rates in 2 to 3 months and by year end? When is the comeback for a strong ARM market, and interest onlys, are they back as far as interest only mortgages? So Alan?
Yeah, no, thank you, Linda, appreciate it. As you know, like rates in 2-3 months from now, I wish I had a crystal ball, but are likely going to be around where they are today. Maybe a little lower. Inflation is on everybody's mind, as we all know, and given the rate hikes the Feds have put in the market wants to see inflation trend downward before rates start to ease a little bit. I think I read something, it was either last night or the night before. Currently, the MBA projects 30-year rates to be at 5% at the end of 2022, and like we're going into Q1 2023, but that was released back on June 10th, which at this point in state. So as for ARMs, they're definitely on their way back. Single percentage originations. Now we're starting to see double-digit originations. I think ARMs will play a pretty key role here in the next couple of years as inflation hopefully starts to trend lower. I mean, what you see now, what's happening in the market, obviously it's not stable. So when you come in as an originator, you're like, okay, hey, should I float? Should I lock? What should I do? Well, if your client is happy with the rate and the credit that they're receiving, then you should say, hey, listen, it looks like we got a pretty good rate today. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but here's your payment, here's your interest rate, here's your credit, and are you comfortable with that? Then make sure you take advantage of that lock. If not, you could be missing the boat, because as you've seen, it's been very volatile.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that prognostication to Alan. Yeah. But yeah, I do agree with him. I think, everything you're reading, they'll probably be where they are right now. So by the end of the year, I don't see in our space, non-QM right now, ARMs coming back, but I will touch on the interest only. We're seeing a ton of interest only, and brokers are talking more about payment versus rate. So in fact, we this month had a June special for any loan that's locked in June. There's no hit for interest only. So, but definitely as houses continue to increase in appreciation and rates continue to move upward, interest only is becoming a big, big story.
Okay, good to know. And Michael?
Well, I'll be the contrarian here, I guess. And I hate to say this, but And clearly we're all in different roles, and prognosticating on interest rates is not any one of our roles. In fact, that's limited to a couple of people at the Federal Reserve, and they even get it wrong, right? And they're the ones at the dials that turn the needle. Thinking about two things. When I talk about higher rates, I'm thinking a rate range at the end of the year in the 7.5 to 7 3/4 range on a 30-year fixed rate for conventional. That kind of underpins. Let's just say that we all agree the 30-year fixed rate conventional is right around 6% today, with a little bit of premium on it. The Federal Reserve has a target that they've communicated of getting the Fed funds rate to around 3.25 to 3.5 by the end of the year. And if you think about that, we're currently sitting at 150 to 1.75, so 1.5 to 1.75. So there's another 150 basis points throughout this year that the Fed plans on raising rates. And if you use that math and add 150 to 175 basis points onto where we are today, that's kind of how I land at 7.5, 7 3/4, 8%, which is kind of a shock to the system. We haven't seen rates like that in 10 years? Still incredibly low versus the historical norms that we've seen. When I think about ARMs, the GSEs aren't really in the ARM market yet. If you look at the premium structure that they're offering, they're not. The best bid that they've got out there right now for a kind of a going rate loan that's 0.75% lower than a fixed rate is probably par, right? Most of the customers that are going to take out a conventional ARM loan right now are going to pay a discount. The only entities that are really aggressively buying ARM loans right now are your money center banks and some of your regional banks. So as a broker, I would be looking to your lenders like UWM, like us, like Angel Oak, your other conventional lenders, and asking them about what do their ARM outlets look like, and are they developing other ARM outlets other than the GSEs, right? And then when I think about interest only, it's coming back. You get asked about it a lot. I think we all need to be careful. Interest only by itself is a good thing for higher credit score borrowers. It's a good down payment and good reserves, but let's try and be mindful as an industry of not combining and not originating products that combine risky features like IO with an ARM with other things that might get added over the course of time. I know Angel Oak and their credit department, they're excellent at managing credit and protecting consumers, so I doubt they'll ever bring anything like that back. But let's just be wary as an industry not to get up on the pulpit about originating things that combine multiple features of yesteryear back together again, because I could see us being interested in that if somebody offered that. And I just think we've seen what that did to the industry 12 years ago.
Absolutely. Yes. For those of that's been in this business for a while, we certainly can't forget that. That is. John, would you like to add anything?
It's funny. You ask 4 industry experts their opinion, and you have 20 different opinions that come out, right? And I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It depends on who you're talking with and what your company, their focus and their strategy is. And so at the end of the day, to answer the end part there, interest only back and the ARM market, isn't that the beauty of being a broker, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, depending on who you're partnering with and who you're working with, you'll be able to give the consumers exactly what they need in order to experience the American dream. And so as home values, everybody's reading those reports, the norm is 3% growth a year in the value of your home. And I mean, we're seeing record growth across the board. And so for the United States economy to be healthy, we need higher interest rates. Everybody agrees with that, right? It has been too low for too long. And so the economy needs to be able to go in and have these higher interest rates that actually make it possible for the health of our economy to grow. I was in some meetings in DC. Linda, you were there, and I was able to actually meet with some representatives, one-on-one and some senators, and in talking with them about what's going on, they're expecting interest rates to rise for about, at that time, they said for the next 12 months, and then they'd see a drop. And part of that was order to go against getting us, with inflation and everything. They don't want to go into a recession. Now, anybody watching and reading the news and with half an eye open understands we're already going into a recession. I don't know if anybody here would disagree with that. It's just a matter of time before they have to announce it. And so raising the interest rate yesterday at the 70, or rather the Fed's raising that 75 bips. I'm one of those who I was team 100. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid. Let's do a whole 100 bips yesterday, right? So I'm glad we didn't do 50. 75 was a step in the right direction. But like we talk about, interest only, if that's what individuals need and they're responsible, they have the income, the scores, and the ability to repay, interest only is a good product for certain borrowers. ARMs are a good product for certain borrowers. And, you know, as an industry, you know, we are also beholden to what the government wants homeowners to be able to qualify for, right? What they want to be able, and a lot of people forget that because they listen to the Hollywood movies. And it's very, very easy to blame the people with money that they're the bad people, right? But a lot of people forget that a lot of these products that did come out were at the behest of the federal government. They were, you know, hey, we need to help out different homeowners. We need to help out different avenues of homeowners. And lenders were asked to do certain things. And yes, there were bad apples. But once again, that the ARMs and interest only are for a certain group of borrowers. And if they have that ability to repay, I think they're a fantastic product, and they should come back in order to be able to make it possible for people to experience that American dream.
Okay, great. Thank
Hey,
you.
Linda, one thing about that interest only, they still, you know, and John, the ability to repay, obviously, they still got to qualify off that 30-year AM. They're not qualifying off that interest only payment. So-
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's,
think what
that
you
is,
found-
that's good to know.
I think what we've seen with a lot of these, with these products, and Angel Oak does a pretty good job. I mean, we have, you know, we also have the DSCR, the bank statement loans, but what we've seen is there's a little bit stricter than what those products were back prior to 2007. As John just mentioned, you still have to qualify and have the ability to repay. So I think the industry moved towards that, gotten a little bit smarter, which is great. And
Right.
it's all about what's doing right by the consumer and not putting them in a position where they can't afford a certain payment. So.
You're here.
No, yeah. None of those neg-am arms that we were.
Yeah.
Now that's dating myself there. Okay, so let's go to question 2, the GSEs and the changes on condominium requirements. You know, condo is kind of like the new 4-letter word here, as they say. So what are your opinions and thoughts on the future of condo financing? And I am going to start with you, Mr. Brenning.
There's a couple things. You know, the GSEs have obviously moved in a direction post the Miami collapse of last year to, you know, I think to a more responsible position. Not that they were irresponsible, but they're mandating that lenders take that extra step of, you know, looking at the safety and soundness of each property, each condo development we're going to originate in. I think that's a worthy step. We want to prevent the, you know, the mistakes of the past and make sure that everything that we're going to, you know, put a consumer into is safe for the long term. That's been interesting because not every lender has adopted that in the same way or at the same time. There are still lenders that all 3 or 4 of us out here compete with that haven't fully adopted some of those rules. And I think it puts consumers at risk. I think it puts the originator, the broker at risk. I think it puts the lender at risk. So we're looking for more uniform adoption of the rules that have been published. I think they're the right rules. We also know that Fannie and Freddie are under a mandate to turn condo approvals into more of like a DU LPA type experience. You picture what's going on with desktop appraisals and the data and done concepts that are coming out. I think it's reasonable to expect in 2023, there will be some condos on your DU or LPA findings that get an auto instant approval. So the GSEs are committed to creating a massive database of safe and sound, fully vetted condo developments, and then having that be an automated solution. I think that will be a real win for everybody that originates in the condo market. And certainly we're here in Florida right now talking about, you know, condos. It's probably the most prevalent market out there. So I think the steps that have been taken are good ones. I think we can expect more and more automation and fluidity in condos as time goes by. And then when I think, you know, one thing I've heard a lot about from brokers over the last couple of months as non-QM has become more popular with the rise in interest rates is, hey, you know, I don't have to follow those rules in non-QM. And I'm going to bet that John's going to tell us you do. Non-QM doesn't mean non-standard or irregular. They're not going to turn their blind eye to, you know, safety and soundness. We've seen non-QM lenders publish a lot of the same rules around condo, and why wouldn't they? Non-QM is a rule around points and fees and qualification, not condo approval. So yes, there are non-warrantable condos available in non-QM, and that's a great product to originate along with condo tells, but don't confuse that with this notion that non-QM doesn't pay attention to the rules that the GSEs have put out relative to condo safety and soundness.
Okay. All right. Well, so John, Angel Oak, why don't you comment on that? And I know
Yeah,
that
we're in
you're-
a process. We haven't yet, but we're in the process of adopting the inspections and everything going on there. So we're in the process of doing that.
Okay. All righty. And Alan, your thoughts on this, and also, what do you think your production for UWM, or is it 20% of your business that are condos, or do you have any idea or any thought on that?
No, we do a fair amount of condos throughout the whole country. Obviously, we have the luxury of that, and I'm sure my competitors do. The thing with the GSEs, and I agree with Mike, hey, is it going to be an automated, updated approval when you run LP or DU? The hard part is litigation. Even right now, when you're trying to do a full condo review or a short condo review, the litigation is what really hampers a lot of this stuff. But I've also seen we've had some investors obviously approach us, for the private label securitization of condos, so doing them outside of the GSEs also, that will probably come into play, not just for UWM, but I think a lot of lenders out there, to just give more options. But being the position that we're in, we have the luxury, even as a lender or as a mortgage broker. Obviously, change is going to be often, and when you adapt and you're following the requirements, obviously you want to be buttoned up. But the nice thing is that we all have options, whether UWM can do the loan or whether AmeriSave or Angel Oak or any lender. So that's a nice thing about being a mortgage broker. But it all comes down to, the service that you have to offer. But I'm not too worried about the condo requirements. What I do worry about is, are there going to be additional options out there for consumers and for mortgage brokers?
Right, exactly. And Mr. Stevens, any comment on that?
I think what we're seeing is the fact that condos are a more cost-effective avenue for the incoming home buyers, which means there's going to be a lot more out there. And so as the increase in product is becoming necessary for the United States population, they're realizing there's issues with past ones that are built, right? There were lower standards at a time. The best way to look at it is, remember back in the day, asbestos was this amazing product. It was cost efficient, it was amazing, and they could use it everywhere. Next thing you know, we become a little better educated. And asbestos is no longer the best thing. In fact, it's horrible and awful. And so as building codes become better, as the environment shifts, as these condos are becoming something that, I look at my own children, right? My son is 18 and he's stepping out into the world. It's scary. And, can he buy a single family residence on an acre? The answer is no. Can he go in and afford a condo? And so as this evolution, as this, the evolving of these products, it's necessary to make sure that the regulations change, right? I love how they are going to become more efficient. I love the idea of it being an automated, but the only way to do that is to ensure that things are at such a high level that when that comes in, it does protect us as individuals who are originating, as people who are lending money. And so I'm actually excited about it. I think it's a sign that they realize that the condo market is ready to just blow the doors wide open out of necessity.
No, that's good. That's a good approach there. I like that answer. All right, so let's go to number 3, and I'm going to start with John at Angel Oak. The QM lenders entering the non-QM market. Thoughts and trends.
Yeah, I think it validates what we've been doing for almost a decade, right? So we welcome it. It's just it continues to validate what we've been doing. I think you're going to see more of them. I mean, as margins get compressed, throughout all different channels, you're going to see more people just try to come into the market. And again, we welcome it. It's it's just the ones that do come in, I hope it gets done right and, doesn't tarnish the brand. So.
Right. Well, good point. Alan?
Yeah, I agree with John. You'll see a lot more lenders offering these products. 5 years ago, if you would have asked me or Matt Ishbia or any one of our executives, hey, will UWM ever be in the non-QM space? I would have said no. But obviously we offer the I think I mentioned it earlier, the DSCR and the bank statement programs. those are programs that are needed right now during this market. You know, self-employed business owners need these type of programs. Investors need these type of programs. And I think it was Mike or John that said this earlier, like it still has to be responsible lending with your ability to repay. You'll see these products, you'll see more wholesale lenders offer these products, and just hoping that they do the right thing by the consumer and not looking just to close a loan for volume. So that's going to be the most important thing.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Brenning.
I love it. I love the development. I've got, before building AmeriSave Wholesale, I was at Deep Haven Mortgage for 3.5 years on the executive team there, and we focused 100% on non-QM, and that's how I got to know John. I think it's an interesting development. It comes out of necessity. I think, what I've seen with UWM and others, entering the marketplace is they have the chance to bring automation to an industry that has historically lacked automation and lacked consistency. And so I think QM lenders, as long as they bring a focus around technology and process consistency through technology, I think there's an opportunity to push that the industry titans like Angel Oak, and everybody can benefit. The broker is going to be the ultimate winner here, as people like UWM push Angel Oak, and Angel Oak pushes back, and Home Point's in the arena, and who knows if Rocket will ever enter the arena. We're certainly going to enter the arena here late summer. We hope that, our hope at AmeriSave, and I think Alan's thinking the same way, and John, I'm sure they're talking nonstop internally, is let's figure out a way to bring a conventional-like experience through technology to the non-QM space. That probably means that Alan and I are never going to offer the full suite of everything that non-QM does, because you can't automate that. We want to be good at creating a similar experience on FHA, on VA, on conventional, on jumbo, just like we want to on non-QM. So I think as a broker, competition is always good. That's the American way. That's capitalism, and more QM lenders entering just pushes those that are the heavyweights that have been there, the specialty non-QM players. It pushes them to get better, and it pushes those that enter to be better if they're a QM lender. So I think it's healthy.
Great. And Mr. Stevens, any final comments on this question?
Absolutely. Bring it on. Competition is critical for innovation, right? At the end of the day, I mean, if it wasn't for competition, we'd still be using candles, carriages. We'd never have gone to the moon, right? And so anytime you can bring in other players, cream's going to rise to the top, right? And as long as we self-regulate, though, and that is a critical piece, especially here as part of the Florida Association, is making sure, the bad players don't use them. If there's a product that we know is bad for our consumers, don't use them. But make sure you go and you work with those individuals who are doing the right innovation. They're doing what's best for your consumer, and don't be distracted by the shiny object to the side, right? Because at the end of the day, be a part of that positive innovation, that positive competition. And when rates get better, as the market reopens up, you're going to set yourself up for creating generational wealth, not just today's wealth. So I love it. I love competition.
Well said. Can I just add one quick thing to that, Linda? That I think I want to follow on to something John said, and I don't want to sound preachy at all. There is a particular type of charter that it's existed for 100+ years in the financial system. It's called a CDFI. It's intended to facilitate lending in low to moderate income economic zones to underprivileged borrowers. And there are some lenders out there, and I'm not hating on them. I'm just pointing out to the origination community, right? Exactly what John said. There are products out there that are stated income, no assets, no verification of anything. Basically have a heartbeat, have a job, have a FICO score, and have a down payment, and you'll qualify. And that reminds me distinctly of 2004, 5, 6, 7. And so I'm sure they've got justifications for it. They've said all the right things to regulators to be able to use this charter. I just caution the average originator to step back, like John was just saying, and really question whether you want to attach your brand and your name and your license to particular products that may not be best suited for the client you might put them into. Just because they qualify for it doesn't mean they really have the ability to repay that loan. So just be mindful of that. And I know that sounds preachy, but not trying to denigrate any model out there. I'm concerned about it because it reminds me distinctly of 2004, 5, 6, 7.
No, I agree. Appreciate
Well
that.
said.
Absolutely. Well said. All right. Next question. What is the single most important action that a loan officer can take to stay consistently productive? Mr. Baydoun.
So I don't know if everybody knows, we recently rolled out a product, more of an enhancement to help brokers grow their business during these times, called Boost. Hopefully, our account executives have called on you and you've sat through the webinars and seen all the marketing. In this environment, you got to find a way of being, we got so comfortable with how things were easy, refinances were flying in the door. Everybody, not everybody, but a majority of our industry neglected the purchase business. So we rolled out Boost to help originators, broker owners, help them connect with realtors that are outside of the wholesale channel. Also, we relaunched our Client Connect program. What we were seeing is with our Client Connect program is then this is how we keep you guys productive. During the refinance days, every loan you close with United Wholesale Mortgage, that client goes on and they pull their credit, we tend to send that lead right back to you. And we inform the client, we let them know Alan Baydoun is going to give you a call. He originated your loan. But we were finding out there wasn't enough follow through and execution once we hand that lead off to the broker or the originator. We've taken it a step further where we'll warm transfer those leads right back to you. And then we've also did a pretty good job. This is the third facet of Boost on how to keep you productive. We've cut out the middleman, the aggregator when it comes to leads. You have the Lending Tree leads, you have bank rate leads, you have different SEO leads, and they all go through an aggregator or a broker. Well, we've done a pretty good job of cutting out that aggregator, that broker, cutting down the costs of those leads, whether they're purchases or refinances, and you can buy those leads at a highly discounted price. So 3 things that we've done to help keep originators productive. I can go on and on about everything else, but the main thing is to stay in front of your consumers, your past book. Go out there, visit real estate offices, ask them out to lunch. We'll do that for you, by the way. Have a cup of coffee regarding through Realtor Connect through Boost. But everybody says like, oh, well, I don't like purchase business or I'll just ride this wave out. No, now is the time to double down, go out there, pound the pavement, build those relationships and get people to use you. Do more lunches, do more presentations. If you're doing 5 cold calls a month, how do you do 10 cold calls a month now? If you're doing 3 lunches a month, how do you do 10 lunches a month? That you got to constantly stay productive, because let's say, when the market does come back, and I don't know if we'll ever get down to the 2s again, but let's say we have that opportunity for more refinances, you've already built that database. And it also doesn't hurt that you're building additional relationships with these real estate agents. A lot of the agents I talk to, because we're bringing a lot of them out here to UWM that are on the retail side, they simply just don't know what brokers can offer. They don't know about the different options, the different programs, the different outlets that they have, the better pricing, the technology. Mike brought that up earlier. The technology in wholesale is 10 times better than technology in retail. And I think UWM has done a pretty good job pushing everybody else's technology even further because of the things and the changes that we made back in 2009, our heavy reinvestment into our IT team, our sole proprietor stuff. Like it's really, how they say a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, we help people step up their game, even our own competitors. But stay productive. Don't relax. Hey, I'm going to take the summer off. No, don't take the summer off. I know everybody made a lot of money the past 2 or 3 years, but now is the time to double down on building those relationships, solidifying them, and getting new people. Your CPAs, when was the last time you touched base with them? Divorce attorneys, when was the last time you touched base with them? Title companies, right? You can still get leads from title companies regarding, delayed financing. There's a lot of cash offers out there. There's a lot of cash closed transactions the past 4 or 5 months. Have you followed up? Consistently have your game plan, set goals, and win. You got to get after it. You can't sit back and relax.
Exactly. Excellent answer. Thank you, Alan. Michael.
Gosh, how do you follow that? I mean, you just rolled out the playbook. I mean, that's fantastic. No,
I don't know, but give
well
it a
said.
shot.
No, I've got a couple of notes. This is the question that I lobbed into you, and maybe Alan
Yes,
had it
exactly.
So
Mhm.
he nailed it. Good job. That's a lot of great ideas for the broker community. I'm going to just keep it really simple. We did a study last summer with my alma mater, Hamline University here in St. Paul, Minnesota, and we asked them to go out and survey 200,000 recently closed consumers in the mortgage space over the last 12 months. And we had a number of questions that we had them ask these students, but the primary one, and this is the shocking one, and it will lead to my answer. They asked two questions. The first one was, do you remember the lender, the name of the lender that you used for your recent mortgage transaction? 11.2% could answer the question correctly. Guess what percent remember their loan officer's name? 7.9%. 7.9% of your customers, maybe not you personally, but 7.9% of respondents in a 250,000 person survey, 7.9% remember their loan officer's name. So what's my answer? It's short and sweet. Stay in front of your former clients. Alan said it earlier. Talk to them about cash out refis. Talk to them about equity in their home. There's lots of free technologies and services you can buy into to tie into your CRM, to send newsletters out to say, hey, Alan, did you know that your house appreciated 23% in the last 12 months? I know rates have gone up, 100% in the last 6 months, but that shouldn't scare you away, because when I looked at your credit report, I noticed at origination that you had 3 student loans that are costing you, 5.99% a month. I see that you have a car loan at 8%, credit cards at 18.99%. Don't be afraid to have the conversation about household payment, overall effective household payment, versus just mortgage payment. And I think a lot of loan officers, and I carry all the licensing for AmeriSafe also, so I go through all the continuing education that you guys do. Used to be a loan officer a long time ago. It's easy to be afraid to have the tough conversation. Borrowers are so trained to think 3%, anything not 3% on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is bad. But if you can tell them you can save them $600, $700, $800, $900 a month for their household, who cares what your interest rate is? If it's 6%, 6.5%, who cares? So remember, stay in front of your consumer, whether it's newsletters, whether it's birthdays, whether it's, whether it's some note you took during the origination process. You have got to circle back to them. You have to put knowledge and information and value in front of them. Don't just them and say, hey, what's up? How you doing? Offer something of value. So the home equity evaluation is probably a good place to enter the conversation. And then remember this, today's purchases are tomorrow's refis. And I think Alan was alluding to this earlier. If you crush it and you do a great job on today's purchases that we're going to originate at 5.25%, 5.5%, 5.75%, all the way up to 7%, 7.5%, wherever this train ends, there will be some form of economic slowdown. That's without question. I think John Stevens said that earlier. That will lead to the Federal Reserve doing what? Ultimately, probably lowering their target for federal funds rates. The bond market will react the opposite way that they're reacting today, and we could see rates come back down. And so the trillions that will originate over the next 9, 12, 15 months become the trillions that will be able to re-originate as a refi, but only if two things: we do a good job on the purchase and with that referral source that gave it to us, and if we stay in front of that customer. So take one thing away from me: stay in front of your customer, please.
Good point. Mr. Gemini.
Yeah, we've been preaching this for 10 years, get out of your comfort zone, right? We've got a marketing portal that is second to none with, posts for social media, whiteboard videos, flyers. We've been pushing this for a decade, and, people are listening now, so, and then, just in Florida, we've got 8 account executives that can stand there shoulder to shoulder with you and do a realtor presentation on your behalf. So it's gonna go, hey, you've got self-employed borrowers out there. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to Linda, right? Because Linda has that tool in her tool chest. So again, we've been preaching this for a decade. Get out of your comfort zone. Majority of our business is purchase business anyway. We've never really participated in that refi. And, we've always said, get that borrower, have them start accumulating wealth. We've got a program out there that has 2 years out from a bankruptcy or a foreclosure. Consider that a 2-for-1. When that credit event gets further and further in their rearview mirror, you're going to refinance that borrower into a conventional loan, and they've got equity in their house. So I just, think of cash outs. People tap that equity that they've accumulated over the years. I just, again, I get crazy about it because we've been preaching about it for so long. We just did a breakout session here in San Antonio, And we talk about the most popular thing you can do right now is educate your referral source. They don't, whether we like it or not, they pre-screen your borrower. And if they hear that they write off everything on their taxes, and I've been telling people, when you go and approve or you're qualifying a self-employed borrower, why not, when you're going to get their tax returns, grab 24 months of their bank statements at the same time and go down those parallel paths. It's just, and I think Alan mentioned it, bankruptcy attorneys, divorce attorneys, CPAs, we've had the largest growth of new business applications over the last 24 months. Those borrowers are now the ones that started their business in 2020 are now qualified for our bank statement program. So it's, again, I maybe sound a little funny. We've been preaching this for years. You've got 8 local account executives with Angel Oak in the state of Florida. Use them to do a realtor presentation on your behalf. If you get 12 realtors in a room, guess what you're going to do? You're going to close one of their own loans. I promise you that.
Whether you like it to or not. Right.
Yep.
You're going to do it. So I know Mr. Stevens has comments on this one. So.
Oh my gosh, yes. How much time do we have left? If I had to condense it down, there you go. If I had to condense it down to one sentence, so what is the single most important action a loan officer can take to stay consistently productive? Attend your Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals meetings.
Oh gosh, well.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean, think
winner.
about it. Your annual expo, you're going to hear all 4 of us speak as your high roller sponsors. You're going to learn, outside of, we only have seconds and minutes to talk today. There we have lots of time to talk. We have afterwards, we can meet with you, before we can meet with you, meet with the other professionals. I mean, that really is truly the best thing you can do, is to get out there and network. Be a part of your association and be an active part, because it's like the person who sits there and complains and curses the world because the light won't turn on. My dad taught me when I was little, yeah, okay, you could sit here and pray all you want, the light will turn on, but you got to get up out of bed and turn the switch yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot more I could say, and I really want to say, but come to the conference and we'll talk about it then, if that's fair.
Thank you. Thank you, John, very much. Okay, so let's move on to number 5. Where do you see our industry in 12 to 24 months? Not rates, just our industry, as it pertains to, well, we really already spoke about rates, but software, closing times, brokers, etc. So, Alan.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the next 12 to 24 months. Obviously, our focus is to continue to improve on our technology, the client experience, the broker experience. So I'm going to, not anticipate, I'm going to say that technology is going to continue to improve. Recently we rolled out Bolt a few months ago, where you can get your loan. It's better than a TBD. So especially with purchase market right now, where you literally get your loan clear to close the same day you submit the loan, because it's better than a pre-approval. When you give it to your real estate agent, your client's already fully vetted and fully approved. Again, there's when it comes to software, there's a lot of offerings out there. But the nice thing is that we control everything in-house here at UWM. We have close to 1,500 IT members here under one roof. None of them work from home. Everybody works here in the same building. And when we want to make advancements or changes or update a product or develop a new type of process for change of circumstances, or whether it's close, it's done instantly. Like, we're not waiting on a third-party vendor. So we have that competitive advantage compared to everybody else. And then I'm sure Mike and John Stevens are seeing this. We've seen retail originators reach out to associations such as FAMP and other associations. Hey, what's going on in the broker market? Like, literally, we have retail originators, retail branches that we fly out here to United Wholesale Mortgage and talk to them about making that switch over to wholesale, becoming a broker, joining a broker shop, because it's the best thing for a consumer, right? It's faster, easier, cheaper. And when you compare LEs and CDs and the costs Like, I'm really excited. No matter what market we're in, and I know rates are up right now, and a lot of ULOs think, oh my God, like, where am I going to get my next deal from? Guess what? Last year, the market was close to $4.4 trillion. This year, at first they were saying 3.4, now they're saying 3. 80% of that 4.4 trillion market last year was on the retail side. So even if it drops to 3 trillion this year, still 80% of the business is there. We're not doing enough. There's still more loans out there. Don't be discouraged. Like I said, I'm excited about the next 12 to 24 months. This is where you're going to see where technology takes over, process takes over. And then if you're a broker owner, originator, make sure like your costs are low. Like, I think it was John who mentioned about their portal. Well, and then Mike mentioned about the study that they did with Minnesota. We did the same study with Michigan State about 5 or 6 years ago before Brand 360 rolled out. And the reason why we rolled out Brand 360 is to make sure that these LOs stay in front of their clients with the flyers, with the social media, with their birthdays, their loan anniversaries. If rates drop, MI falls, they get alerted. That client gets alerted. So we're pretty excited about the next 12 to 24 months. And I'm excited for also my competitors, because, the more we do, I know the more they're going to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. John, where do you see Angel Oak in the next 12 to 24 months? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, our projections are to double this year, next year, and for the foreseeable future. Non-QM is still in its infancy. I mean, yeah, I've been talking about it for 10 years, but it is still in its infancy. I mean, we're not even 3% of the total originations out there. If you really look at it, we should be 5 to 10% and of the business. And if you really look at it like that, it should be a $250 billion business. I mean, so there's a lot of runway here.
Okay, great.
And I'm sorry, one other thing I'll add.
Hey, sure, absolutely.
Absolutely. In our space, there's the long runway, it's technology. And we've got a lot of neat things coming in technology in the next 12 months.
I think that is, that's definitely mandatory. And for those people that are not very techie, you need to become more techie, right? Mr. Brenning, what do you think?
I'll speak more broadly, just, not necessarily about AWMS. Just, I see the transition that Alan spoke to as I think it's a wonderful transition. It's a wonderful development for the industry to see the broker community growing. I think we can look back 5 years ago and look at a market share probably around 10%, 12% mark 5 years ago. I think the stat that I saw for 2021 was, I think that the broker community garnered around 21% of the market. I think that's what Alan was referring to. And I think every projection that I've seen, especially because interest rates are up, you have these retail loan officers that are limited by choice, right? Brokers' superpower. They pull your cape back. You get the big S right here. Your superpower is choice. You get to go to UWM. You get to go to Angel Oak. You get to go to SR. You get to go to AWMS. You get to go wherever you want. And we all have things we're competing on, better than others and worse than others. And we're all trying to get better, like Ellen said. So always remember that you're the face of the relationship, but tech is going to continue to proliferate. We're going to proliferate tech. Alan's proliferating tech. John talked about what they're going to do at Angel Oak. We're maniacal about tech development. We think the industry is going to be maniacal about tech development because it's the wave of the future. The MBA is quoting a $10,000 per loan cost to produce. That's untenable. That's done nothing but increase, just like inflation over the last 10 years. It's been a walk up because of compliance costs, origination costs, commission costs, everything adds up to about $10,000 a loan, according to our wonderful friends in DC. And so tech has to strip cost out of that. If you think tech's not going to be the way forward, you're missing the point. So AI will continue to be a bigger part of the origination process. Blockchain will likely become part of the origination process. We're embracing both of those at AWMS. We call both of those here Aussie, our Aussie AI platform. She does stuff for you, right? She gathers documentation for you. She clears conditions for you. She originates and underwrites 70% of the loan you submit to us. So we don't use humans for 70% of a loan. Aussie does 70% of the work. The point to all this is stay close to tech. Whenever a wholesale lender you work with rolls new tech out, embrace it, because they didn't do it for no reason. They listened to you. They saw something that was not working as well as it could, and they rolled something out to enhance the process. And right, and UWM is certainly the gold standard we're all chasing and following. I think Alan says it well. Like, they've set the bar incredibly high. It's to your benefit, and we're all trying to catch up and chase and develop new things. I think we need to pay attention to RON, the remote online notarization. That is starting to become more and more common throughout the United States. It's not approved in every state. Certain states and even counties within states still have limitations or forbearances against that. But I think through your lobby and through DC and lobbying through FAMP and lobbying through the NBA, we're going to make a dent there and ultimately get to a point, hopefully at the end of 2023, where RON is a thing in every state, in every market, in every county, in every city. And that will strip cost out, that will strip time out of the process and lead to a better experience. But you will always be the face of the relationship, no matter how much tech ever gets developed. I don't ever see a world where the government says, you know what, let's stop requiring loan officers to be licensed. Let's stop requiring them to be the face to the relationship. That's not going to happen, right? Any prediction you see otherwise is foolishness. I mean, they were saying the same thing about the real estate agent 10 years ago, and there's been so many models that have come in and out of real estate and broken and cost investors trillions of dollars with the next best thing. You will always be the tried and true solution. But all of us in the wholesale space will continue to innovate to make you the sharper edge and the finer point in the retail community.
Excellent. Excellent answer. Mr. Stevens.
So the other day I went to a grocery store, and what are grocery stores doing right now? They're innovating with technology, right? They have this great idea years ago where you're going to take your shopping cart, you're going to go through and this long line, and you're all going to sit there and you're going to run your stuff through the scanner and self bag it. Then you're going to have a big grin as you leave, right? And then you're going to hop in your Jetsons car and fly away. Well, you know what I noticed is not only myself, but everybody else, as they were going with their carts to go purchase whatever they would do the head neck turn. They would see if there was a human as a cashier to help them as they went through.
Yeah.
They weren't flocking to that automated section over there. The technology the cashier had, same technology, but it was that human interaction that was critical. And so the next 12 to 24 months, I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, that's that previous question, right? That mind shift. Whenever anybody used to ask me, hey, John, how are rates today? They're awesome. And then they'd ask my competitor, oh, it was so much better yesterday. Seriously? All you've done now is made your consumer upset with you, right? Because rates today are awesome, because that's all they qualify for. Will they get better tomorrow? I'll borrow Alan Baydoun's crystal ball once it's not broken anymore, right? and we'll share that. But that's the thing, is that mind shift. So 12 to 24 months from now, where are we going to be? It will be exactly where we decide to be. As Mr. Brand mentioned, if we are involved in the lobbying, if we're involved making our industry better, then 12 to 24 months, it'll be even better than that. I've sat there, with many on this call on the steps of the Capitol, going through the halls and talking. In the state of Utah, RON exists, and it is amazing. The remote online notary, it is literally one of the best advances, and yet it's like the paperclip, right? Mm-hmm. At one point in time, that had to be invented before people used it. And I'm sure there were people back then, oh, you kids with your newfangled gadgets, bending wire and, holding paper together, right? But the remote online notary, I mean, how does it help our soldiers who are overseas? How does it help all the different borrowers out there who may not be able to go in? The cost savings, as he talked about, right? As you go through there, and now you no longer have to go through that crazy process and have someone and, get people with the power of attorney to come in. You literally do it online, and you're able, both borrowers, wherever they may be in the world. And so little advances like that will continue to make things better. Closing times, you know what? Once I sound like a broken record. If you work with the right lenders, if you work with the right people who are leveraging technology for the betterment of the consumer and not just themselves, then yes, closing times will go down, right? If you are using the people with the right products who are consumer focused, the broker channel will continue to explode. Because at the end of the day, my personal opinion as John G. Stevens is that is part of what we have here. That's capitalism at its finest point. The fact that I can best determine what's best for me and helping my consumers, right? If I grow my own business and I work with partners who help me do that, then I'm going to be that key human assisted part of the e-commerce, and I remember all the doomsayers, the big box stores were going to do away with all loan officers. I laughed then, I laugh now, right? Because I firmly believe at the end of the day, 12 to 24 months from now, consumers, as they're pushing those carts down the proverbial lending aisles, they're going to do the next stretch and they're going to look, where are those individuals who can leverage that same technology and help me get to that end goal? That's what people want. That's what they crave. They're smarter than they've ever been before. And they want to know that when they need help, there's that human piece, there's that broker there, right? Who can help them get to that end goal.
We might actually have a Tesla, grocery cart, so you may not need that here.
That might be, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So we do have a bonus question, but I do want to say to everyone out there, if you have any questions, put it in the chat box or raise your hand, so that no one really knew about this question. So in your opinion, who is today's largest generation group and how are they shaping the housing market? So who wants to, John, you want to go first? Stevens?
Sure. Yeah. Millennials. I mean, they make slightly over 40% of all home buyers right now. As you go through and you look that up, I mean, what's happened is they've held off, they've saved their money. And, my millennial friends tell me this joke, so I'll repeat it. They say, we're finally sick of living in mom and dad's basement. Right. And so they're going out and they're buying homes. And that goes back to the previous question, the condo market, right? And why there's that increase in that. There's a major development going on just down the street from me where a lot of home builders came together, but the person who put the entire plat together has over 200 condos and he's renting them.
Right.
He's not selling them. He's renting them, and then all the other homes being put in, and specifically geared towards the millennials, right? Who want to be able to get in there. They want a tighter knit community where you can walk to do your shopping, walk to do your eating, to be able to do that. And so, in my opinion, based on what I've read and seen, with over 40% of that buying power, it's the millennials right now.
Okay. Alan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with John. 33% of those millennials, what is the first thing that they did? Those first-time home buyers, the first thing they did is they went online to search for a mortgage. So it's important that, when we talk about SEO, when we talk about social media, it's important that you take advantage of the platforms that the lenders that we have to offer, that other lenders have to offer also, regarding your social media presence. Like we have a partner services team that will help you with your website, color coordination, wording, how many times you should be posting a day, put together your posts for you. We do that for you through Brand 360. All of this is for free. And those millennials are out there. And also when they're searching, I don't know if everybody knows, but findamortgagebroker.com. Like it tells you what mortgage brokers are in your area, in your zip code, what's their rating, what are their reviews. So millennials are out there, they're on websites, they're Googling information before they're buying a home. And if you have a strong internet presence, if you have a strong presence online, those millennials are going to look for you and they're going to find you. But again, don't forget, use the tools and resources that lenders have to offer. Like I said, we have Brand 360 that's free that will help you post to sites. And then you have our partner services team that will help you put together an extensive marketing plan, especially an online marketing plan to help you grow your business.
Okay. And there's probably the millennials are not in the basement, as you said, John Stevens, but I think the parents are now. So it's
Right,
it's
yeah.
flip-flop there. Exactly. So John, what do you think?
Yeah, you can't disagree with both of John and Alan. It's the millennials, but you also have, that self-employed borrower. There's more self-employed people than there are VA borrowers. So I think you've got to look at that, and that is an underserved market. Quickly behind the millennials, and I'm having a hard time saying that word today, I don't know why, are your self-employed borrowers. Like I said, I would encourage everyone on this call who watch.
I think we just lost John.
I think he's a little frozen. So I'll jump to you, Michael.
Sure, I'll pivot. I think Alan and John Stevens said it well. So I'll offer up a slightly smaller but still massive and sizable opportunity for people to pay attention, and that's the minority marketplace. So we're at AWMS, we're also a part of NAMBA with Tony Thompson and his team, and they're doing some amazing things, bringing light to the underserved nature of minorities. And minorities is not your historical definition. Minorities includes, certain ethnic groups and races, certainly, but it also includes women and the LGBTQ community. And these are all communities, so as we define minority, that have been underserved by lenders for decades, right? And so NAMBA estimates a $4 to $5 trillion opportunity in the minority marketplace, which I think is, Alan talked earlier about the size of the 20 and 21 marketplaces, both being north of 4 trillion in terms of origination volume. This is a $4 trillion opportunity in and of itself to tap into the minority marketplace, to be intentional, not only about how you market to that community. I think we all do a horrendous job, as originators marketing to these communities. We've got to get better at that. We've got to polish our game to approach the community. We need to learn how to speak their language. Their language doesn't necessarily mean the actual language they speak, but we need to learn how to teach them about credit and down payment and reserves and sources of down payment assistance. And did you know you can get a gift from your parents? We need to educate this community. We need to figure out how to market to them, and we need to help serve them. And that in and of itself is a $4 trillion opportunity that as we get better at that through process, through technology, through education, through the work that NAMBA is doing, through the work that FAMP does, I know in the minority marketplace as well, that is a huge opportunity to pay attention to. So, look yourself in the mirror. Who cares what the color of your skin is? Figure out how you can work your way into the minority marketplace and truly commit to it. It's not just changing the type of advertising you're doing and putting a particular type of person in an advertisement. That's not how you engender yourself. You got to get into the community. You need to meet community leaders, people that influence the minority and low to moderate income potential consumer, whether that be clergy people, whether that be religious leaders, politicians, home ownership groups that are in some of these neighborhoods and in some of these areas, and get to know them and become a part of that fabric, build trust, and you'll be the go-to originator for this $4 trillion opportunity.
Exactly. I am going to, we are at an hour, and I'm going to ask for some final words. But before I do that, again, I want to thank everyone that has been on this webinar, and thank our amazing speakers and panels today. And as Michael Brenning said earlier, FAMP is involved in the Helper Act, and we're also, been advocating for the Hometown Heroes program to have the TPOs and brokers obviously join in. So we have given a lot of time and effort these last few weeks, and we need members, and because when we go to DC and we go to Tallahassee and we hope to meet with our governor, the first question they ask is, how many members do you have, and how many licensed originators? There are over 60,000 Florida licensed originators in Florida. Now, not all of them live here, and they have dual licensing, but we are only strong with their numbers and our membership base. And each one of these companies believe in that because they are members as well, obviously, and they're here supporting FAMP. So I'd really like to just have you each say some final parting words, and then we will make sure that everyone gets this presentation via email, and it will be on our website. So Alan, any final words?
Yeah, thank you, first of all, to the association, Linda. Great job. I love where the association is heading. I think the past few years, I've seen some tremendous changes. I've worked closely with FAMP over the years, and I love the advocacy that you guys are doing. And I see more members joining. And the reason why members join is because they see advancements and they see change, and change is happening in a good way. I talked about the market earlier. I think Mike mentioned it also. Don't get discouraged as an originator right now. Now is the time to win. Now is the time to shine. And whether it's a $3 trillion market or whether it's a $4 trillion market, brokers are not competing against each other. If Alan Baydoun were to open up a broker shop right across the street from Linda, it's good for the channel because we're competing against the Wells Fargo, the Rocket Loans, the Bank of America, the Chase originators. Those are the ones that we're competing against. It's not Alan versus Linda. We share the same philosophies. We want to do what's right by consumers. And at United Wholesale Mortgage, we'll always put brokers first. We'll always put strong associations first. And we're just excited to be part of the channel and a part of the association. So thank you, everybody who joined us today.
Thank you. Michael.
Well said, Alan. Thank you for everything that you do, Linda and FAMP. Glad and humbled to be a part of the organization the last few years, and you've got our commitment for the long haul to be a part of this. I just encourage everybody that attended today. One final parting note is to reach out to somebody who's not part of FAMP that should be, right? The advocacy piece that Linda talked about. We need a voice when we go speak to legislators, when we go speak to people in DC or in Florida. You have to have size, right? You have to have big populations of membership and in the association. And so you probably have 3 or 4 friends that you kibitz with, you go out for cocktails with, and you talk mortgage shop with that aren't part of FAMP. Make them part of FAMP. Get them to join the organization. Get them to FAMP Annual later this summer. I'd love to see all of you there and look forward to being up on stage with Alan and John and John talking different shop. We'll have some updates for you on the market then, and we can talk about the last quarter of the year and what we expect for 2023. So make sure you get to see us at FAMP National here coming up later in the summer.
It is August 17th through the 20th at the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando. So it's rfamp.org for more information and hopefully membership. So John, you're back. We only lost you for a little bit. So glad any parting words?
Yeah, thank you, Linda. As always, appreciate, FAMP, and we're really proud to be a power sponsor. Just look forward to seeing everyone in August. And Alan said it really well. This is the time to win. This is really the time to win. I've never been more excited about this industry than I am right now. And, if I could encourage everyone, grab an account executive in Florida and do a realtor presentation with them. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
That's great. That's great to hear. And Mr. Stevens, love to hear your final words, please.
Well, I really sincerely hope everybody comes out to the annual conference because one, it's really boring to speak to an empty room. I mean, let's be honest. That never happens in Florida. But if we can all do what Michael said, bring a friend, bring 2, bring 3. We may or may not have some surprises to give to the people who are in attendance and who are there. And so hint, hint, nudge, nudge, make sure you're there as we're speaking, because once again, it's all about taking care of your consumers. The best way you're going to do that is by partnering with the right people, making sure that you are that human piece and the human assisted e-commerce, and attending your Florida association. I just saw someone mention on the chat, best webinar they've been involved in all month. And I think all glory, laud, and honor to FAMP, to Linda, to everybody for making that happen. But last but not least, look forward to seeing everybody out there at the annual conference.
As I said, it's an honor to be with these rock stars here today. Again, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time to doing this and supporting FAMP. And we will see everyone in August.